Let's talk about a guy who wrote a book, Jerry Filott. If you don't recognize the name, you will probably recognize the story. Falade is a graduate student at Southern Methodist University and the author of a crime novel called Call Me, I'll Hide the Body, which is a great title. This book generated huge interest in publishing. It reportedly went through a 14-way auction in the United States and it sold for around $2.4 million. That is enormous for any author. But then, concerns surfaced about possible AI use. According to a whole bunch of articles, an editor raised concerns during the submission process about signs of possible AI involvement. Filott's agent said that he initially gave an explanation that the agent considered clear and credible. But after another meeting, the agent felt that aspects of his account had changed and ultimately just cut ties with him. Falade has denied using AI to write the novel, and he said that his AI use was limited to research. There is also a very important detail here. According to a lot of these reports, the editor didn't use AI detection software to make its decision. So I don't want to turn this into an AI detector cost an author $2 million because that's not what happened. But that kind of proves my broader point. I don't know whether this guy used AI to write his book. You don't know either. What we have publicly are allegations, questions about how the manuscript was created, an agent who said his confidence changed, and an author who denies using AI to write the novel. That means the responsible answer is we just don't know. But for some reason, I don't know has become an incredibly difficult sentence for people to say online. People who hate AI want suspicious writing to prove somebody cheated. But people defending an accused author may be equally tempted to assume the accusation must be completely false. Neither response is particularly useful. Sometimes someone probably did use AI. Sometimes somebody didn't. And sometimes we may never know. And if we really want to know how a manuscript was created, there are better things to look at than things like an AI detector. Draft history, version history, tracked changes, research notes, editorial correspondence, previous versions of the manuscript. Those things tell us something about the actual writing process. A detector looks at the finished product and tries to reverse engineer how it was made. That is a very difficult thing to do. And what also worries me is what this could do to actual writers. Are authors now supposed to change their natural voices because they're afraid of sounding like AI? Stop using em-dashes? Avoid certain words? Make their prose deliberately less polished so a detector will believe a human wrote them? AI is supposed to imitate human writing. Humans should not have to stop writing like humans because AI learned how to write like us. And none of this means that readers have to be okay with AI-generated fiction. You are absolutely allowed to say, I don't want to buy a novel generated by AI. You can want disclosure. You can want publishers to establish standards and be angry if somebody represents machine-generated work as their own creative writing. Those are reasonable positions. But you cannot oppose undisclosed AI-generated fiction and also oppose baseless accusations against those authors. Those false accusations make it harder to deal with real abusers because if every em-dash becomes an AI scandal, nobody is going to take the scandal seriously. So I think we need a few basic standards here. Stop treating detector percentages as verdicts. Separate suspicion from accusation. Look for actual corroborating evidence and get comfortable with uncertainty. There is a massive difference between saying, this passage makes me wonder whether AI was involved, and saying, this author used AI and here's the proof. If you're going to publicly accuse someone of lying about how they created their work, the evidence should be a lot stronger than a percentage from a website. AI-generated content has created a real trust problem. Readers don't want to feel fooled, and authors don't want to compete with mass-produced junk. Publishers don't want to spend millions on books and later discover serious questions about how those books were created. But the answer to a trust problem cannot be more irresponsible accusations. We can't complain that AI makes things up and then turn around and make things up about authors. So yes, call out AI slop when there is actual evidence. If somebody leaves, here's your rewritten chapter with improved emotional depth in chapter 12, by all means. I would also like to know about it, because that is wild. But stop treating writing quirks and em dashes and all of that stuff like you just ran DNA evidence. And in the Jerry Filott case, I don't think the responsible answer right now is he definitely used AI or he definitely didn't. We don't have enough publicly established evidence to make that declaration. Not every suspicion needs to become an accusation. Not every controversy needs an instant verdict. And not every sentence that sounds vaguely like ChatGPT was written by ChatGPT. Sometimes, and I know this is going to be a shocker, a writer wrote it. So I want to know what you think. What level of evidence would you need before you felt comfortable publicly accusing an author of using it? For me, it's leaving some of that shit in the chapters. Let me know in the comments because this is an interesting, hot topic. And if you love talking about books, authors, I guess publishing drama, and everything else happening in the book world, subscribe to this channel and I will see you in the next video.